Hello and welcome to my video. Today it's going to be a slightly different video because today I'm going to have a short video showing you how I store my distress inks. These are my distress oxide inks and I have them in this Alex drawer from IKEA, and I've got my distress inks here and my distress oxide inks here. These are the distress ink storage with storage tins from Tim Holtz. I've removed the covers and I've just put them in this. It's the right height, so I can just pull it out and take the inks that I need. I think storing it the right way is very important, so that way I will actually end up using the inks as and when I need them. If they are difficult to get to, I know I won't use them. So this is where I store my ink pads. So I've got most of my ink pads are this size, the larger ones. And if you notice here, I've actually printed all of this from the website. I'll put links to where I got all these labels on the description below. So I printed one to put here, but I also have it inside, so I know where to put my ink pads back. I think sometimes I forget where to put it back. I have it in a particular order, so I have all my greens and blues, my pinks, blues, purples, my oranges, and my reds, and my yellows, and my darker yellows, as well as my light greens. I have it in that order, so if I want to remove it, I just take that out, put it here, and then I take this. So it's really convenient. These drawers really work for me. I wish I had the larger Alex drawers, but I don't have that space in my craft room, so I'll make do. And some of my inks are the smaller version, so at some point I bought smaller inks, so I have it in this storage, and I've got my washi tapes in here as well. This is where I store my foam pads. Now these are actually makeup or nail gem containers. I actually got this from the dollar store. So this has got quite a few drawers here. Let me pull out one and show you how I use it. So this is where, again, I cut it from the same tabs for the names of each of the colors, and I've stuck it into each of these squares. And what's great is when I want to use it, I can just take my ink blending tool and just stick it in here, and that's me picked up. Now I'm in the process of changing all of my ink blending foam to the domed foam. I find the domed foam easier to use because it just makes the blending process easier. So I have all of this here, and for those distress oxide foams, I actually put a little gray sticker or gray tape at the handle, so I know these are all distress oxide foams. I don't mix my distress oxide and my distress inks because one's ink based and one is more of a pigment base. One is dye ink and one is pigment base, but they both react so beautifully to water. Now, the reason I wanted to improve my storage and of my ink pads as well as my foam pads, because if it's more accessible, I will start using them a little bit more often. So my next video is going to be a lot of distress ink usage. So what is important when you find a storage facility, you actually got to find something that can expand. As you know, there are more distress ink colors come out. Not that I get every single color, but I have most of the colors. The ones I don't have, I hope to get it at some point. Well, what happens is I've got 3 drawers of distress oxides and I've got another 3 drawers of distress inks. But as you can see, here I can expand a lot. At some point, I probably have, because they're so interchangeable, these drawers, you can remove them and put them in here. At some point, I probably have one for distress inks and one for distress oxide inks. Because they're so easy to get to, I know I'll be using them a lot more. How do I actually keep a swatch of all my distress inks? Now, this is a punch. I think it's a Martha Stewart punch of a butterfly. And every time I get a distress ink, a new one, I use the foam and I put it onto a card, and I always use the Strathmore card. So it's the Strathmore BRISTOL smooth card. Now that's the card that I use for ink blending all the time, and I use that same card, and I always have it slightly darker on one side and slightly lighter on one side, so I can see what the color really looks like on the Strathmore BRISTOL smooth card. So I've got all my distress oxides and distress inks here. You can see some gaps. I don't have some of them, and you know, I don't have the latest ones like the Villainous Potion. I think it's out, but I don't have them. In fact, I just got the prize ribbon and the salvaged patina. which are relatively new as well. So I don't tend to get them immediately, but I tend to get them at some point when there's a sale. So here are some ink swatches that I've done. So if you see, I think I've shown it in one of my videos, but I intend to do another video to show how I do ink blending. So I do come up with some ink blending colors. So if you see the ones with the black, that's distress inks, and some of them with the gray, that'll be the distress oxide inks. And I put the colors, the color combinations at the back. So next time I will know. So when I want to do a card, I can see, oh, what do I want? And I can actually look at the colors here. Now, these die cuts, as well as these stems, are all the Waffle flower swatch combo. I'll put details to all of that in the description below, so you know what I use. I mean, you don't need this, but I think it's amazing to have swatches. So you can use just rectangle cuts, whatever. You can use your guillotine and cut and actually just write the colors behind it. But it makes such a difference being able to see these colors when you want to make a card, because I think seeing them, you know, I'm quite a visual person. So seeing these colors, I do love this combination. So when I see these colors, I tend to keep them handy just behind my chair there. I've got a little hook where I put them, and it's really handy to see. In fact, I've got some more swatches that I want to do for the newer colors, and I'll be getting to them. And maybe I'll do a quick video to show you how I do them. So that's something to think about. These are how I store my Distress Oxide ink reinkers as well as my Distress ink reinkers. Again, these little circles, you can get it on the Tim Holtz website. So you actually print them as a whole circle, and then you just put a little punch. I think it's a 3/4 inch punch, and then you can get a little ring to put over each of these. I think it's really handy to see how they are. And I've actually punched out all the inks because these are some of the reinkers that I haven't got yet. And the one reinker I really want is chipped sapphire, because I use a lot of chipped sapphire. I really like that color. So these are the reinkers I'm yet to get, but I will be getting them when there's a sale, or usually I wait for a sale. So seedless preserves and chipped sapphire are two distress ink reinkers I really want. Now I find that I don't have to re-ink my distress inks as often as I have to re-ink my distress oxide inks. Perhaps I use them more often, but also because perhaps they've got more of a pigment ink in them rather than just a dye ink. As you can see, these distressed oxide inks, the pigment always settles to the bottom of the reinker. So before you use it, you always give it a good shake to give the pigment a chance to mix together. And you can hear a little ball bearing in them. You can hear it move, and that's why it allows it to mix properly before you do your reinkers, before you re-ink your ink pads. And this is how I store and organize my reinkers. Firstly, to ensure it's easily, I can find it easily, as well to ensure I don't buy doubles. Hence, I have this little ring here, which tells me the ones I don't have, and I don't actually buy the same one again. I hope you found this video really useful to see how I organize my distress inks, my distress oxide inks, how I swatch them, how I store my foam pads. Just having them all available makes and handy and organized in a way that's easy to get to makes me want to use them a lot more than I previously did when I had them in a cupboard in the other side of my craft room. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, remember to press the notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. In the meantime, happy crafting, and I'll catch you at my next video. Take care.